So yeah, like
Respect.
the search for truth and knowledge, I'm gonna be using my phone a lot, but it's a noble cause, but it's what we do with that knowledge that matters. So I just wanted to thank Mr. Rhoda for like dealing with us, having patience, being nice, and all you guys for being here, for like, well, some of you guys probably were forced into this class, but you know, the ones that picked it, that's really nice of you guys to do. So yeah, and we've already talked about the meaning of life, but I do think that like it would be meaningless to even exist if there was no God. So like that one guy who said like suicide is not the answer, I question if it is or not, because like it doesn't make sense. So the Big Bang is an effect. There needs to be a cause to that effect. So if you don't believe in God, I have a challenge for you guys. Do you guys believe in a miracle? And what's more reasonable? And be like 100% honest with yourself. Is it more reasonable for something to make something or nothing to make something? Just think about that. So I have a few Bible verses, even though I know some people don't really believe in the Bible, but they talk about philosophy, so that's why I'm talking about it. So Colossians 2:8 says, "See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the elemental spiritual forces of this world, rather on Christ." And then about like the priori and a priori stuff, there's a Bible verse that says, "For his invisible attributes," talking about God, "namely his eternal power, divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world, in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." So I feel like even though some people want to see God right now, like to just magically appear, through creation and everything, we can know that God exists. And then this one is really deep. Ecclesiastes, made by Solomon, who was a king, he talks about the meaning of life. And it says, "It is useless, useless, says the philosopher. Life is useless, all useless. You spend your life working, laboring, and what do you have to show for it? Generations come and generations go, but the world stays just the same. The sun still rises and it still goes down, going wearily back to where it must go all over again." So it's kind of weird, like the Bible's saying that life is meaningless. But then here's a conclusion later on. "Now all has been heard. Here's the conclusion on the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil." So the book is showing how life is meaningless without God. And obviously I'm not here to force anything on you or make you convert. It's just something to think about. So yeah. And then a lot of people see the Bible as a myth or just fake stories. And 1 Corinthians says, "But God chose the foolish things of this world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of this world to shame the strong." So if you think about this, God uses these crazy stories to see who's humble enough to not think that they're so wise. You know what I mean? And that morals and everything get affected like once we deny God. So here's the good news. There's proof. You just have to be unbiased and open-minded enough to see it. So if you're curious, there's a lot of stuff. Cosmological argument that we kind of went over a little bit. Design argument, moral argument. Then there's like history, fulfilled prophecy, and other like cool stuff in archaeology. But there's also bad news. So like, I know not a lot of people like believe in this, but none of us are perfect. You know, if you believe in the 10 Commandments or just anything, we know that none of us are perfect. We've all sinned. And if you look into your heart, you can see that we're all guilty before God. So there has to be some form of justice and punishment. And some people say, well, if God's a loving God, why would he send people to hell? Well, it's because he has to be a good judge. You don't just let people go after they murder or rape or do stuff in a court of law. So, but he also loves us. So that's why he sent himself to be punished, so there could be a form of justice. And if you have any questions, I can say at the end. But yeah, so he sent himself to die. He was that perfect person we couldn't be. So basically, we broke the law. Jesus paid the fine. And we can't earn heaven. Every other religion, Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever it is, any philosophy, says that in order to reach nirvana, paradise, heaven, whatever you like to call it, you have to be a good person or follow these laws. But with Christianity, we can't. It's not about earning your way. It's just faith in God because He already did it. We can't do anything. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
All right, good job.